This episode is brought to you by your mom's chancla. Do you have chores to do? Do you have bills to pay? Do you have a podcast to record but don't feel like doing it? Well, YMC is just right for you. Just one serving of your mom's chancla will get you right back on track and remind you who's boss. Your mom. Order now and we'll include a serving of your dad's belt for free. Order YMC today because all we're missing is your A. What is up, people? Yes, I am back. Trying to be consistent here. Fuck you, don't judge me. Just listen. I have a feeling that like when people, I kind of already know how this is gonna go. I don't think people are really tuning in now, and if you are, um, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything like that, but you're one of the lucky ones. Because I think what's gonna happen is when you know when people do start listening to us, there's gonna be how do you call it? Like people are gonna like binge, I guess. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be like, oh shit, let me check out their shit and go through our whole catalog and be like, oh shit, they got stuff together. Oh, you know what I mean? Me and Accurate, or us and working with other people. And then when you guys come across the podcast, it's gonna be like, what the fuck? And they have, oh shit, let me check these things out. And then you just run through the catalog, and so most of you will be listening to this in the future. And that's kind of trippy to think about because, I mean, I guess that's how things work nowadays. These things just sit, and then all of a sudden people just start, it's like a wave, it just takes over and it just starts consuming everything you've done, videos and podcasts and music and anything else you have, and I think that's why it's so important for, artists to just like cross pollinate, because you never know how people are going to find you. You know what I mean? That, and it's cool just to work with other people. I'm a big advocate of that. Just working with people and seeing what happens when you bring the best of you and I bring the best of me at that moment in time, and then just bring it together and you know create dope shit. I don't know. I'm excited. Again, I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I'm excited. Nah, I don't want to sound like Kanye. Let me just shut the fuck up. But yeah, welcome back. This is the Puras Pendejadas podcast. I am Rob D, and I was having a talk with my daughter last time, and I was telling her about my nephews. How I forgot the story, but anyways, it revolved around my nephews being young, like little kids, and well, she wasn't born yet. And I was telling her stories how they would come over sometimes. They would spend the night. We would hang out. And then I started thinking like when I was a kid, I remember like I was one of the young ones of all my cousins. So it's almost like a recurring thing. Like every family is like, if you're if someone's older than you, they kind of hold that over you, even if it's like a year or two. They hold that over you, like I'm older than you, like I know more, I've seen more. You know what I mean? And I remember going through that a lot. I remember growing up and like I guess that's like like one of the things I remember, like in family gatherings, and I I really wouldn't hang out with my family that much, but like whenever it came to like birthdays and holidays and stuff, we would get together or whatever. And I remember, like for example, like most of my cousins, they would be playing like Nintendo or something like that, and they would be playing games that I wasn't familiar with, so I would just I was one of the little ones, and I would just look at them and watch them play and watch them play, and I'm like, hey, can I play? And they're like, yeah, 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 right now. Kind of like how older sibling treats the younger sibling, and I know what that feeling is. Even though I'm the oldest of my siblings, Um, I got served quite a few times that humble pie. Like, hey, can I play? And like, yeah, yeah, right now, right now. Okay. So I, just sit there, wait my turn, and then they would say like, hey, we're gonna go cut the cake now. Oh, okay. And everybody would run, you know, and I would stay so I could play. Like, hey, can I play? And they would just like hand off the controller to me, and then like, okay, cool. And I would just sit there like, wait, I don't know the controllers. Like, wait, well, how do you play this? And they would just like, I'm like, fuck. So like, okay. And I would struggle to kind of get the hang of it. Like, okay, well, what's going on? I don't. And like in the middle of me like learning, they would come back and be like, okay, your time's up. It's time for me to play. And it's like, God damn, man. And no, that's Balboa right there. And I remember they would do little dickish moves like that, and you would just like kind of have to suck it up, just take it on the chin. And I remember another time too where my brother he wasn't a baby, but I think he was like around like 2 or 3. I guess he is a baby, right? And I remember we when we got there, he was like fussy, he was crying, and it was kind of like causing a scene. And some of my cousins were staring at me like it was my fault or some shit like that. Like I could turn them off or something. And I remember I kind of like felt embarrassed, and I like rolled my eyes like, this kid. And I remember my was he? Let me see. Yeah, he was the oldest cousin, right? My oldest cousin is 10 years older than me. So if I was fuck man, I don't remember if I was like 8. He was 18. And I remember like rolling my eyes like, oh, this kid. And I remember him and another older cousin were they turned around, they looked at me, and they kind of like caught my reaction. They snapped at me and they said, well, you used to be the same way. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you used to be the same way. You used to be crying all the time too. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, oh man, it's you know, like, I don't know. They try to like make me feel dumb, and it worked. And I was like, okay. And then I started thinking like, motherfucker. Well, of course I didn't start thinking there, but it always stuck with me. That moment always stuck with me. And I would replay it throughout my life. You know what I mean? Like growing up, and I'm like, what did they mean by that? Or what? Not what did they mean, but like, what was the point? You know what I mean? And shit like that fucks with you. And I remember thinking like, I bet you probably did the same thing. Like you were a baby once too. Like you have to have had your moments, but the thing is that they were holding that over me because they witnessed me being fussy, and I couldn't retaliate because, I mean, they're fucking older than me. You know what I mean? And it just like it messed with my head because I was like, damn man, like really, like what was the point? You know what I mean? Like you're 10 years older than me, and so it's like right now, like an 18-year-old talking shit to an 8-year-old. Of course, the 18-year-old is gonna have the better advantage. But like, do you feel better about yourself? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get it. But I guess that's part of that like poisonous mentality that that we come from. I don't think it's just in Mexican families. I think it's all ethnicities, really, all races. We all have our that poison in there, that negativity, the need to spew venom, the need to know everybody's business, and then you know hold it like ammo, and then wait until the perfect time to like shoot it at them and stuff. It's just like, god damn man, like um I don't know man. I guess type of shit like that, it's stood out to me in my head. And I make it a point to like, if it's not good, if it's not worth it for me, then I'll just let that that thought, that experience go. You know what I mean? Like I delete it from my mental hard drive. Last time I was talking to Accurate, we were telling like we always do. We always get together and we just start telling each other's life stories and stuff like that. And I was telling him a story, and I had purposely forgotten why I had stopped talking to one of my friends. And I was like, dude, it was some bullshit, right? And I was like, I remember I was fed up, and I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. And I told him, I was like, holy shit, I can't remember what happened. But I remember, building up to that, and, being like, hey, man, you know what? This is it last time. I'm done with you. Whatever, some drama happened or whatever. But I remember having that thought of like, I don't want to be holding on to this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's all negative. It'll just upset me. Why do I have to keep on thinking about this? So let me just delete it. And I do. And that's how and then sometimes it blows up in my face because it's like, remember this and this? Like, no, I don't. Yes, you did. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, like, I don't remember. And, but yeah, I think that's part of self caring about yourself. Just like choosing what stays with you. You know what I mean? I could hold a grudge against my parents and stuff like that, but and I did for a long time. But at a certain point, I was just like, that's energy being taken up, that I could use for, more productive things, like for my kids and my wife and my nephews and stuff like that. So let me just let that shit go, man. I don't think this shit's good because I would really get upset. Like I would be having an okay day, and then I would just replay it in my head or whatever, or those feelings. I would let these negative feelings take over. Y ponle, a lo mejor sí tenía razón, like, but I was just like, nah, man, like, I don't like how this shit makes me feel. So I would just like, eh. So I just made it a thought in my head, like, all right, forget this. It's like mentally dragging that file to the fucking recycling. Oh shit! I just had a brain fart. The recycling, whatever that shit is in the computer, and just like right click, empty recycling bin. Right click, empty recycling bin, and it's just like poof, and it just fucking disappears. And now it's not even. I don't even really hesitate because if I know already, that it's gonna be negative, it's like just delete it, delete it, delete it. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. And yeah, man, I don't see a point. Yeah, it'll help you win some fucking petty arguments and stuff, but I don't mind losing those, man. It's like, all right, man, whatever. Moving on. I just want some, positive shit. We're putting up with enough bullshit in this world. You know what I mean? What else was I gonna tell you? Let me see. What else? What else? What else? Got this shit written down, guys. So, oh yeah. So, um, I'm pretty sure a lot of people go through this. A lot of families and stuff like that. Um, we try to like sit down and watch TV, right? And we spend more time uh, finding what to see than actually seeing shit. And that shit is so frustrating, man. Like, hey, well, let's see this. Well, no. And then we just start fucking scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. What about this? Nah. What about this? Nah. What about this? Yeah. What about you? Nah. It's just like it keeps on going and going. It's so fucking frustrating, man. But this past weekend, me and my wife actually we ended up seeing two movies, and they were they were okay, man. They were decent. One was the Prey. I think it's called Prey. Prey. I believe it's the prequel to the Predator movie, and I didn't know what to expect. I've always been interested in the story of the Predator and stuff like that. Like I know about it, but I don't think I've seen all the movies. But man, this shit was decent. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if maybe because the bar was set low, I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But it was okay. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it. Um, and I think the coolest part was that you can watch it without knowing anything about the Predator. Like it's just a good movie. It was just written really good. The plot and I was expecting to cringe. I'm not gonna give the movie away or anything like that, but like it deals with the Native Americans, and I was like, oh no, like they're gonna, they might bring up some cringy things or translate things in their own way, and I I guess there were some times where I thought it was gonna lead to a cringeable moment, but nah, man, it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed the story. I'm a big fan of like stories, and we've seen some of these movies where it's a build up, build up, build up, build up, and then they just like eject. They just pull out of the movie and just like, all right, well, that was a good movie, but the fucking ending sucked. But nah, it wasn't the case with this one, man. It's a solid movie. I do recommend it. And the other one too is híjole, um, I don't remember the exact name, but it's the third part of the Jurassic World. I think it's like Jurassic World Dominion or something like that. That one too. That one was decent. But again, I think it was because my bar was set low. You know, I was talking to my nephews a few weeks ago, and they had said that they had seen it, and that they really didn't favor it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, me agüita esta pinche movie, but we had been wanting to watch it for a while. So we put it on and stuff, and it was okay. It was okay. This one did have some, well, at least for me. I think in my wife too. She had mentioned it. There were some very, not very, but there were quite a few cringeable moments where it's like, okay, guys, we get it. Fucking, I don't know. It was just like, ugh. But I guess they try to like do little callbacks to like, see what we did there. Reference some old, some of the old movies and stuff. But it was all right, I guess. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I think it was just cool that we didn't fuck around and spend a lot of time on looking, for something to watch, and just like got straight to it. Like, oh, let's look for this, and let's look for this. All right, cool. And then like, yeah, let's watch this, and then just like started it, and ended it. So that was pretty cool. We have some other movies in mind too. Fuck. Do I have it? No, I wrote it down somewhere else. Let me see. Oh, I really really want to see the Mo. I think it's called Mo. It's a series on Netflix with this comedian. I think his name's Mo Amer or Amer or something like that. Yeah, something like that. But I really like his stand up. I really like his story and stuff like that. And I think his show is kind of based off of his life. So I'm really excited to see that shit, man. Hopefully we can knock it out this weekend. That one, and which one else? No, there was some movies. Ah, shit. Oh yeah, the Sylvester Stallone one, the one that's on Amazon. I think he's like a retired superhero or something like that. I want to check that shit out, and then I really want to see that one because I'm I'm a fan of like the superhero movies, but I haven't seen them though because my wife doesn't like them. So it's like I gotta find time for me to watch them on my own, and I prefer to watch something together. But when we saw the trailer to this one, she's like, "Hey, it's pretty cool. It's pretty decent. I'm down to watch it." I was like, "All right." So, hopefully we see that one soon too. I think there was another one. Oh yeah, the one with Idris Elba. Um, fucking. I think it's called Beast. Um, I haven't really seen the trailer to it. I think I've seen a teaser. It's like really quick, like "Rah!" And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, that looks decent." And my wife had brought that up, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's check it out." So we have a few of them lined up, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. That way, if you are like us and spend a very uh, plentiful amount of time just looking for shit to watch, you could just like get straight to the point and watch something. I did rewatch. Um, what was it called? Did I see both of them? I think I saw both of them. The Joe Rogan stand-ups. I had seen them already. A few years back. I think he's gonna record one soon, or something like that. Um, and yeah, I saw those, and man, they're so good. If you haven't seen them, you know, I really like the stories and stuff like that. I really recommend both the ones that are on Netflix. Um, yeah, it's some good shit. I don't want to. I don't want to mention any. I want to, but I'm trying to hold back from like mentioning some of the jokes. But yeah, that's right up my alley. Let's just say that. Um, Let me see what else. I think that's it. All right, let's hit up some of these advertisers. All right. This episode is brought to you by Telosico. Do you wish you could tell that annoying coworker to fuck off, or tell that certain family member to shut the fuck up without facing the consequences? Well, Telosico is just right for you. This extract from the I don't give a fuck bus plant is completely organic and environmentally safe. One spray of this, and you'll be enjoying the sweet nothings coming out of people's mouths that annoy you the most. Hey, Rob, I don't think you should charge. Pinche Mexican. Well, pues que, what can I say? Uh, take two. Hey, Rob, I don't think you should charge artists to perform Sprite. Hey, Rob, I don't think you should. What? Oh, I fucked this up. Damn it, man. Hey, Rob, I don't. Oh, yeah. All right, sorry. Let me start that again. Oh, man, I can't wait for them to hear this shit. Hey, Rob, I don't think you should charge artists to perform Sprite. Hey, Rob, I don't pay to play Spray. Ay, ay, ay. Act now and get this 1 ounce bottle for only $59.99. Just go to telosico.com. Enter code Puras Pendejadas to save absolutely nothing at all. That's code Puras Pendejadas and watch the magic work. Thank me later. Oh man, if you guys only knew. I think eventually I will tell the story of how, this whole Energy Fest came to be. But like I had mentioned before, right now we're going through it. So I don't think it's time to be telling a half-ass story because I'm a big believer in jinxing yourself or throwing everything to shit. While you mention your plans and shit. So I'll talk about it when it's time. The fuck? Oh wait, sound like a fly. Um. So another thing I wanted to talk about was how I started making music. And I was really trying to think about it because we were getting together with these artists and stuff like that. And, sometimes, well, we ask each other questions and stuff like, hey, man, how long have you been doing this? And blah, 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 blah. And my answer isn't that simple. You know what I mean? It's been like on and off and, um, large gaps of time. And I kind of wanted to. I don't think I'm gonna. This might be like part one. You know what I mean? Because I really want to let you guys know in detail um, what I've been through as far as the whole music thing goes. I Yeah, I really want to. Cause most of my answers for everything aren't that that black and white. But so I think the first time, obviously, as far as hip hop goes, I mean, it's been in my life for the majority of my life. From what I can first think of, and I think I've mentioned this before already. I think it was like around kinder, yeah, like kinder. I was hanging out with my at my best friend's house, and he had an older brother, and his older brother would like basically, just jam out to like all the newest shit at the time. Um, and they were very their parents were very what's the word? I don't want to say they didn't have rules, but they let him get away with shit. You know what I mean? And yeah, man. So his brother would like be blasting Wu Tang 36 Chambers, the Purple Tape, and then the Chronic, the first Chronic, Doggy Style. You know, shit, man. There's like Mob Deep. I remember hearing Mob Deep. Liquid Swords, the Jizza, of course, the Method Man album. Um, there's so much, and it was more like just like a soundtrack playing in the background. You know what I mean? So it's always been around, and then my first tape, that I asked for, I don't know, for my birthday, or Christmas, some shit like that. I asked for a Walkman for birthday or Christmas, and my first tape was the Crisscross album, and I would listen to that shit, man. I would fall asleep to that, and the stories and everything like that, and it was a really cool album. Not that it was, but at that moment, it just like it consumed me. I think it was the whole like kid thing. It's like, oh shit. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they're my age. And then later on, finding out that Jermaine Dupri wrote all that shit and produced all that shit, I was like, God damn, man. So I thought that was really cool, finding that shit out later. Um, but yeah, so it's always been in my life and stuff, and I've always gravitated towards it. Then I learned how to listen to it, and it's really helped me throughout my life, really. Um, but to go back to how I started to make music, I think the first time it was a thought was, I would always get together with my best friend at the time, and we would listen to music, and we would go online, and we would print out the lyrics to our favorite songs and stuff like that. And then we just started dissecting everything. We'd listen to a lot of Bone Thugs, a lot of Bone Thugs, a lot of shit, man. I don't remember, but it was a lot of Bone, a lot. So we would just like print them out, and we would just like recite them. You know what I mean? So it was just like engraved in our minds and shit. And I don't really remember whose idea it was, but one of us said like, "Hey man, what if we write? What if we start a group or something like that?" And we agreed and stuff, and we made like names for ourselves. Like his name was Swiss, because he said he was a big fan of the Swiss. Oh fuck, what are they called? The shoes, Swiss K Swiss, the K Swiss shoes. He liked those a lot. And then for me, I was like, oh, I'm fucking crazy, man. And I called myself Skits, like schizophrenic. Yeah, ugh, cringe. But and then the group name was Deuce. And I remember like we would draw our logo. It was like a dice, and it was always on the number 2, and it was like flaming and shit. It's fucking stupid, man. But yeah, we're like, yeah, man, yeah, let's do this. So it was always like a thing, right? And we would always get together, and we would always study and recite these songs, from these artists that we like so much. And we really didn't focus on doing our own shit because we wanted to learn how it was done by these. We looked at them like masters of this craft. You know what I mean? Like the way they would the syllables and all this shit, but we wouldn't get technical with it. We just liked how it sounded, and that's it. We weren't like fucking scholars or anything, and like, oh, the way this theme was broken down, and if you really look at the quadruple syllables, the way they fucking and then the way they followed it down, and then actually there's an internal rhyme here, and then but they ended with another different rhyme. Like we just liked this shit. We gravitated towards it. We loved it, and but it was always something in the back of our minds. You know what I mean? Like yeah. And I remember I had bought a notebook, and I would start writing, it's just fucking dog shit. But I would just start writing and practicing uh rhyming and patterns, and that's when I realized that like I grew. I had more of a respect for the craft because I was like, God damn, these people make this shit look easy, and it is not easy, you know. And I think we must have been like in middle school, so we were like about 12, 13, around that age, 11, 12, 13. And so I remember having that notebook, and like I would get discouraged a lot because like I would start like, okay, let me practice my shit, and then I would do it, and then like it's and I would just hit a wall. And I remember one of the things my dad had said growing up was I think we were watching like this one of these shows, variety shows, these Mexican variety shows. People would like perform and sing and play instruments and shit like that. And or I would be watching like music videos and stuff. And I remember him telling me once, like eso es talento, eso nacen con ese talento. Like you either have it or you don't. And I remember like, oh, okay. I'm gullible as shit, man, because this is like my dad, the person that I, looked up to, like, oh, okay, whatever he says, that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? I wasn't questioning shit yet. And I remember him saying like, eso es talento, eso nacen con eso like se los dio Dios, and all this shit. Like, oh, okay. And so in my head, I'm like, I want to do this, right, but it's not coming to me. That means that I cannot be this, you know, and that is the biggest phallus in the world, man. What I learned later on in life, was that if you really want to do something, yeah, you could be talented. You could be, God can give you this talent, right? And you could do something that's so second nature to you that it's like so easy for you to do and shit, right? But at a certain point, you have to also work at that craft. You have to work. You have to polish that shit up. You just got like a head start. You know what I mean? But you still have to work. And that's something that I didn't learn until later. And you better fucking believe that I started applying that shit. You know what I mean? I don't have a God given talent, or at least I don't think so. But I do work at it. You know what I mean? I understand how important work is. And you see it happen. And you see athletes talk about it all the fucking time. Jordan, Kobe, everybody. Um, but yeah, so at that moment though, I remember like I would always like start writing, and then I would just like, man, like I said, I'd get discouraged and shit, and I was like, fuck, man, and I would just leave it like that. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, I'll just wait till I get good at it. I guess I never really thought about practicing. I would just get so discouraged that I wouldn't write for a long time. And then, me and my friend would have a conversation about the group or whatever. And then, when I would get home, I'd be all, I'd be all pumped up and be like, "Yeah, let me bust this fucking notebook out again." Fuck. Matter of fact, I just threw that notebook away. I want to say like maybe like 2 years ago, maybe. I ran into it. I was, trying to get rid of shit, junk, and I didn't even read them. I recognized the notebook and I was like, ugh. And I was like, yeah, should I throw this away? Should I? I was like, no, no, maybe I can. And then I remembered, like, wait a minute. What deep shit could I have possibly written? And I remember, like, none of this shit is finished. I was like, no, I'm just going to throw it away. And I just fucking threw it away. And I do not regret it, man. I do not regret it. Anyways, yeah, so it was a recurring theme. Like, yeah, we're gonna do a group and stuff. And we would like do these drawings with our names and the logo and everything like that, right? And then one day, I remember my friend was like, He's like, "Hey man, let's freestyle." And I was like, "Oh shit." Like I had never done that before. And I think he had not a lot, but he's definitely done it more than me, which I had done it zero times. So anything was, better than my experience. And he's like, let's get this shit going or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So we start. I don't know. I think we played like an instrumental, right? We were in somebody's car, either my parents or his parents' car, and I just remember hearing the beat, right? And he's like, I was like, go, you go first, and he's like, nah, you go, and I was like, ah, shit, and I remember like just like freezing, I just fucking choked, no, like it was just like a blank, like my mind was like a blank piece of paper. I had nothing. I couldn't even think of anything. And I remember the disappointment in his eyes. Like I'm looking at him and I'm like, all right, man, like, we're a team, like not hype me up, but like help me out or whatever. And I remember the look that he gave me was like oh shit, like you can't do this at all. And I was like, and I might have said like a line or two, but it was like super stupid. And I remember the disappointment in his face. I was like, fuck. Because I think I had heard him freestyle like once before, and it was, it was okay. But I was like, I think he knows how to do this shit way more than me. And he didn't even go. That's how much I sucked. He didn't even take his turn. He was just like, and we just like turned off the fucking radio and got out of the car, and that was it. Poof. The group was no more. It was fucking horrible, man. It was horrible, and it was I didn't really know how to feel at that time. I think I was super vulnerable, and I think I was okay with like, all right, well, fuck it, because I think it was a mixture of that plus like hanging on to what my dad had said with the whole, oh, if it doesn't come to you, then it's not meant to be. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it. I guess this is just confirmation that, I'm not a fucking rapper. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Nobody says I can't stop. I have to stop listening to this shit because I love it. So, you know what I mean? That was stage one. And that had to be like middle school. I'm pretty sure it was middle school. Um, so then fast forward to high school. And I want to say it was either like sophomore year. No, yeah, it was either sophomore or junior year, right? So, yeah, yeah, definitely between sophomore and junior year. So what had happened was, I had gone together with two of my classmates, right? I was talking to one of my classmates, and then he was saying that um, he would write. I forgot how it came up about making music and shit. And I was like, I am not a rapper. I have proved it to myself. But I was like, I think I had heard some of his shit, or I don't know if he like recited a song he wrote, or I don't know what happened. But I was like, oh shit, you're pretty dope, man. And I remember telling him, I was like, you remind me like of Lloyd Banks, because he had some really cool punchlines at the time. I don't remember them, but I remember telling him like, you remind me of Lloyd Banks' style, like it's pretty dope. And he's like, really, you think so? I was like, yeah, man, maybe we could record some of this shit. And it's like, oh, okay, well, and then I forgot, I think he had like a handheld recorder, and he's like, maybe we could get together at my place, and you know I can set the recorder up in the closet, and um we were gonna play an instrumental off of his stereo and hope that the recorder would pick up the beat and the vocals. And I was like, oh yeah, man, fuck it, let's try it out. So he was like, I just gotta write my shit, like what do we make this song about or whatever. So I was more like a Puff Daddy, you know what I mean? I was like, you know just like giving ideas and directions and shit. Like, no, 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 I think you should like maybe say it like this or like whatever. Like, yeah, yeah, can't stop, won't stop, some dumb shit. So then, uh, while I was waiting for him to like finish writing his shit or whatever, he had gotten this other guy involved, and he's like, "Hey, man, he wants to do this too." And I was like, "All right, fuck it. Like, it's not like my group or anything like that. I'm just willing to get the wheels going." And so then it was us three, but only them two, of course. Writing or whatever, rapping, and I don't think. I think we just like hit a wall because it's like, okay, this shit doesn't sound that good, that clear. What do we do? Like, how do we make this shit work? Like, make it sound good. And at the time, I remember I was working at Whataburger, and I had I was saving money for a car, and I was like, well, but at that time too, while we were getting the wheels going on that, I was like, man, maybe I could buy some equipment. That way I can record them and shit, and that'll be my position. And I was like, okay, cool. Mind you, I did not know what the fuck to buy. YouTube didn't exist, and I think that's why I go to YouTube so much, because I wish I had that shit back in the day. But anyways, um, so I remember hearing, these words like in interviews or like music videos and shit, where like a sampler and an MPC, and shit like that. So I was like, okay, let me look into these things. And I remember looking into an MPC, and I was like, God damn, this is fucking expensive. And then I was like, okay, well, what's a sampler? I'm like, okay, it's a little bit cheaper. Again, mind you, I didn't know how the fuck to use these fucking machines, right? So I was like, while we were going through this phase or whatever, I went to Guitar Center, and I started asking them, like, do you guys have samplers? Like, yeah, we have these over here, blah, 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 blah. And I had enough money to buy one, and this shit was expensive for a fucking high school kid to buy. And I was like, okay, it's either I keep on saving up for a car, I was in a little piece of shit car, just something that would move me from A to B, or I buy this shit, you know? And it was a significant amount of money. I believe it was like $500, and that was cheap, okay? Because this fucking NPC was like $1,000 or more, and I was like, I really want this. You know what I mean? So I got it. I bought it, and I was like, I remember telling the guy, I was like, man, I don't know how to use this. He's like, dude, just study it. Just play around with it. Just, fuck with it. And, you know, next thing you know, you'll be coming for, and he started pointing at all this other shit. And I was like, all right, fuck it. Fucking kid, man. So then I get it, and I realize very, very quickly that I was way over my head. But it was just like the hope of me figuring it out that didn't let me regret the purchase. So I would go over, and I would go over with my machine, and they'd be like, hey man, and I would tell them like, look man, I got this. And they're like, oh shit. I'm like, but I don't know how to use it. Like, let me just learn how to use it, and then we can make our own shit. But for now, let's keep on doing what we're doing. Let's keep, you guys keep on, rapping over these known instrumentals, and it's gonna be a process. And they're like, all right, yeah, cool. So según yo, I would like sit down and like try to learn the fucking machine. I did not know any fucking thing, nothing at all. So then um one day, um and I don't want to make this about, I don't want to focus on the negative stuff, but let's just say the machine disappeared. So then I was shit out of luck, shit out of money, and that was it for that phase. Yeah, man, that shit hurt. And some drama happened. And we'll just leave it at that. Because the point is that I tried again, I went into unknown territory for me, and I didn't know where to start. You know what I mean? I would see this machine, and I'm like, how do you work? You know what I mean? Later on, like years later, come to find out, I was like, a sampler isn't what you make to make beat. At least the one that I had, you know what I mean? I was like, you were looking for a drum machine, pendejo. But I didn't know, you know what I mean? And I told the guy too, but again, you see a kid walk into the store with this amount of money, like willing to spend this amount of money on these machines, and I'm pretty sure it was just like, cha-ching. You know what I mean? This fucker didn't give a fuck. That's why I want to send a big fuck you to Guitar Center, man. There's only one, maybe two in the city, and for the most part, all the I would run into the same uh, group of people that would work there. Not everybody, but there's these certain guys that were always there that would like, I know more than you type of attitude. You know what I mean? And it's like, you really know how to discourage people, or like make them feel less. And I think that was their goal. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, if you're going to buy this, then you need to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, these guys are assholes. That's why I avoid Guitar Center as much as possible. But anyways, um, so yeah, so I didn't know how to use the machine. Ended up being something that I didn't even need, or it wasn't what I needed. You know what I mean? But whatever. So then there, there goes that dream again. Um, and really, damn man, a few years again, a few years passed by. I want to say maybe let's see, maybe like 5 6 years passed, right? So now I'm working at a movie theater, right? I'm working at a movie theater. And if you guys have listened to previous episodes, which I hope you fuckers have, you guys know that I used to work at a movie theater up in, the projection, So up there, there was these two guys, right, that I would work with. Actually, there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 5 people, me 6 up there, right? And two of those people, there was these guys that were looking into like I guess starting a rap group, like starting a rap or whatever. And I'll never forget, man. Like, I was working on a machine, and this guy came up to me, right? And mind you, I had been working there. I guess no, I wasn't really new. I've been working there for I don't know, less than a year, maybe. I don't know, not that long. Um, yeah, not that long. Maybe less than 6 months. Now that I think about it. But anyways, so I see this guy coming up to me, one of my coworkers, and I look up to him. I was like, "What's up, man?" And then he said, "Hey, man, do you rap?" And I don't know why it was like I turned around, I looked at him, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, why the hell would he randomly ask me that?" And it almost like echoed in my head, like, "Do you rap, rap, rap?" And then I would get like flashbacks of like, fucking high school, middle school, like, oh shit, man, if you only knew how many times, you know what I mean? I've tried, but I failed. Um, but I turned around, I looked at him, I was like, I mean, I've tried it before, but it's not like I do it still or anything like that. He's like, and I remember him telling me like, yeah, man, you look like the type of person that raps. I was like, okay, whatever that means. I don't know if that was a compliment or not, but I was like, okay, thanks. And he said, me and so, which was our other coworker. Shout out to Ernie. Me and Ernie, we're gonna, we're thinking about rapping and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He said, maybe we can, have our own rap group, and maybe you can join us. And I was like, what? And I remember thinking like, man, that's such a cool idea. I'm like, okay, cool. But I remember thinking like, wait, the past times it hasn't worked out because we don't have beats, we don't have anything to record on. Like, so I asked him, I was like, but like, what about the beats, and what, do you have like a studio or something? And he was like, yeah, man, I have beats, or I can make the beats. And I was like, oh shit. Mind you, this was just to let you know where technology was at. This had to have been like oh 07, 3, 4. Yeah, it was probably like oh 07, oh 06 or oh 07. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, 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 I can record us on my laptop. And I was like, what the fuck? You could do that? And he said, yeah, man, I have a mic and everything, and I can make the beats. And he's like, I mean, they won't be like anything like super professional, but I can make some beats. And I was like, all right, cool. So then, I don't know, it just got me like excited, you know? And so the way we would do it was we made this song, so we're like, what should it be about? And I think he already had a beat, and we're like, I don't remember whose idea it was, but basically we agreed, like, let's make this song about talking shit about one of the managers, because this bitch's breath stunk like shit all the fucking time. So we're like, yeah, let's make a song talking shit about her breath. Like, okay, cool. And so the way we were doing it was, while okay, so it was three of us. One of us would be out, working with the projectors, making sure everything played on time, and the other two would be in the office, recording. You know what I mean? Like, of course, he had to be there because he knew how to work his laptop and stuff, and then record us or whatever, and then then when we were done, we would like switch, like, okay, let's switch, let's do this. Okay, cool. And but of course, way, 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 way before we even recorded, I was like, holy shit, I gotta write, you know. And I remember thinking, I was in a certain part of my life where, like, I remember like everything that my dad had said, mostly everything that my dad had said was like complete trash. You know what I mean? Like, I did not put that shit up on a pedestal anymore. And I remember thinking, like, okay, I'm gonna make this happen. So I remember having that attitude, like, okay, I'm gonna pick up this pen and I'm gonna just start writing. What? I have no idea, but I gotta make this shit sound good. And, you know, working with these guys too, it motivated me. It motivated me to, like, not competition wise, but just like, I gotta keep up because I don't know where they're at. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I never looked at it like a competition. It may be healthy, more motivating for me, but I was never like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill them. Like, nah, I don't think I've really been the type to approach stuff like this. I think it's because I love the craft. I love the culture so much that I'm just like, I know what that brings, and it's not good. You know what I mean? But anyway, so we would have these movie schedules, right? Every day they would print out these movie schedules, right? And we would fold them up, you know what I mean, and carry around in our pockets every fucking day. Like, it's the first thing you would do. You'd get there, you get your movie schedule, you fold it up a certain way, basically like this long rectangle. Fold it up, have it in your pocket, and then, like, okay, what time is it? You pull it out, like, oh, okay, I gotta go over here, screen whatever, screen number 9, screen number 6, gotta play these, whatever, you know what I mean? So what I would do is, in between movies, so that was the agreement. Like, okay, let's write about something. About what? I don't know. I don't think we had come to that conclusion yet. But I think I remember asking for time. Like, uh, I don't really know how to do this. I want to do it, but can I just have some time? That way I can, start practicing. And he was like, yeah, yeah, sure, man, for sure. And I think he would like record himself. You know what I mean? And maybe they both did. I think they both would record some music. So I was like, okay, cool. So that game, I had time. So I kind of like, it was pretty cool. I think that was one of the first times where I understood like having purpose. I would be excited to go to work because I knew, like, okay, in between movies, I'm going to write. And I don't know, I was excited for it. You know what I mean? It was like I was going to school. It was weird. And so what I would do is I would unfold my schedule, in between movies, and I would just start writing, and I would just start writing behind that, and just practice, practice, practice. A lot of it was dog shit, man. A lot of it sucked, but I remember having these certain moments where I'm like, holy shit, okay, okay, I think I got something here. Or I would be listening to some music and I would write their verses to dissect the art. You know what I mean? To like, it's kind of like I know you've heard of like these scientists and stuff. Like when they were kids, they would they would get like a stereo, right? And they would open it up and they would completely disassemble it and then assemble it back up just to know how everything worked. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've heard those types of stories. Or like like these people where like they'll completely disassemble an engine and then just like put it back together. I think that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I would write, I would pause and like, okay, all right, what are they saying? Okay, cool. And then that's how like I just started picking up certain things, like, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. So I would like a whole day, I would just like, oh, okay. I would write it and then I would look at it and then I would just read it and then I would read along while I listen. Like I'm a fucking student. I'm fucking telling you, man. I love this shit. And that's the thing is that I loved it. So I was like really getting my hands dirty, if you will, figuratively, and just like really getting into it, And I just grew more curious, and then I was like, let me try this shit, you know. And so every day I would write, behind my schedule, just every day, every day, every day. And then I started collecting these sheets of papers every day because it was almost like I gave myself homework. Like I have to write something. It was rare. I don't think I ever really wrote like a full page. I would always go at least like halfway. Um, at least max halfway. Um, but if I had like 2 lines, 4 lines, later on I learned that those were like bars, the structure and everything like that. And um, I would just really get into it. And I think at this time, I don't know if YouTube just had started, um, or I would read blogs and stuff like that. And I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to this shit, dude. I'm telling you. So I was just, oh shit, okay, this is what this is. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Oh, okay, okay. All right. And then just like putting everything together, creating your own puzzle. Um, so yeah, like all these sheets of papers throughout the years I would just collect them and then I start putting them in a shoebox and finally I, I don't know how long it took me before we actually laid down that song, but it's somewhere. I don't know if I have a copy of it. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if my brother had a copy. I don't know if my big brother has a copy. My big brother has almost all my shit. He sent me something last time. I was like, "Oh my god, please throw that shit away." Like he tells me like, "Man, I have all your shit." I'm like, "Please delete all the old shit, man." It's fucking horrible, man. It's cringeworthy, but last time he sent me like an old song. I didn't even remember it. Um I had to go through all the recent shit. Porque me agüité, güey. I was like, God damn, man, that shit sounds horrible. And I just started listening to the therapy album and like the features I've done so far and the energy album. I'm like, okay, okay, there's progress. So, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little good about myself. Uh, but yeah, so I don't know how long it took, but I ended up being like, okay, I'm ready. I think I could really do this. And we laid down the track and it was good, man. I liked the humor in it and everything like that. Uh, I think I think one of the lines I had said was like, "I'm suing Colgate, Crest, and Aquafresh" or something like that, because she would use, well, in my head, she would use everything to keep her fucking stank ass breath clean, but it wouldn't work. Uh, but yeah, so we did that, and then oh wait, what the hell is it with this shit? Please don't tell me to stop recording. Okay, no, we're good. This shit happened last time too. I gotta look into that. So then we laid down that track, and I'm not gonna lie, man, it felt good to be able to start and finish something. And then I don't know if we did another. I don't. I'm trying to remember if we did more songs. Maybe we did one more, but I don't remember. But we didn't do a lot. But that learning experience was really big for me. That's when I discovered, like, wait a minute, I said I was gonna do this, and it happened. You know what I mean? It was fun, and it was decent for the time. You know, for my skill level, it was decent. It was all right. I was like, holy shit, man, this shit's fucking dope. Um, but of course, egos start getting involved in shit. Not by my half, by my part. I mean, by my behalf is what I meant to say. But yeah, man, basically we just had different plans and ideas of where we should take this shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm not about to start trashing people or whatever. I'm pretty sure I wasn't right. I don't think any of us were right. But basically, we broke off, so it would just be me and this other guy, Ernie, and we would write. And oh, that's what it was. He showed me how to write too. He showed me how to write because I think he had experience too. Not a lot, but I think he had some experience. So he would, coach me too. Yeah, that's right. And yeah. So then I was like, hey man, maybe we could do this shit, by ourselves. I just don't know what to do or anything, but we would write, and I would tell him, hey man, check this out. What do you think? And stuff like that. And we really would just get a kick out of like writing shit more than like recording. And it became evident that, like, yeah, man, it's gonna take some money to like lay this shit down. You know what I mean? So the dream kind of faded away. I think he ended up moving out of town to. Hopefully, if someone knows where Ernie is, oh man, I forgot his last name. Um, man, he was so cool, man. Big shout out to him. I don't remember exactly what he taught me, but I think he gave me some pointers at the very least. Both in my job too. Like, he was a projectionist in Cali. I think he used to work at the what is that called, the Chinese theater. And he would tell me stories about, like, seeing famous people there and shit like that. And he really knew his shit, and he taught me a lot about projection. Because at that time we would work with film, um, and yeah, man, and he taught me some shit. Um, and I think, yeah. So after that, we kind of like just broke off. Um, yeah, I think that's what it was. We didn't really have a lot of material. If anything, we had like one, for sure we had one song, maybe two, but I don't think so. But then it's like, oh man, we should have like a page, and we should do this and we should do that. It's like, hey, let's have some fucking content first, man. Like, we only have one, maybe two songs, and let's, like, oh, and then we should name the group this, and what about this and what about that? Like, nah. So just like we just clashed or whatever. Um, but one thing that always, stuck with me from that moment on was writing. So it's just like, keep on writing. Maybe you can't go, you don't know anywhere where you can record, but you can always write. So I would just keep on writing. I would write and write and write and write and write and write, and I would just, the possibilities were endless. You know what I mean? And time would fly too. That would help out a lot too at work. Like, lunch break, little mini breaks in between movies. I would just write, and I developed a work ethic and an ear um, for what type of music I would like to make. You know what I mean? Like I would hear certain songs and I would study a lot, man, because that's all I would do. You know, like I would just listen to music and I would just listen to like different artists and stuff like that. Uh, and around that time, I believe, yeah, no, no, no. Well, after that experience, that's when I discovered Jay Z. Um, and it was when the American Gangster album came out. You know, before that, yeah, I had heard about him. I remember seeing like commercials on TV. Um, but yeah, that's when I discovered him, and that's when I was like, "Holy shit, hold the fuck on!" Because, like I tell you, like I developed an ear, you know, for how to listen, like the double meanings, the double entendres, and stuff like that, the triple entendres, and basically like the double meanings. Sometimes there's like triple meanings to like one line, and like there's all this coded shit, and then it's like the lyricism is just like, holy shit, man! It's like up there, you know. And I think me discovering him at that point in my life really helped me grow and understand myself. You know what I mean? I think that's why I hold him, you know, in one of my top of all time, because Eminem was what I needed for my teenage years. You know, the rebellious, the fuck this, I don't give a fuck, and the take fatherhood seriously too. You know what I mean? That's what I learned from Eminem. But at that point in my life, um, I found guidance in Jay Z's music, and it really helped. And then I went back and listened to all his shit, and I like my mind was just blown. You like oh shit, because I'm taking all these bits and pieces of knowledge and lessons, life lessons, and like how to apply them and all this shit, and it sounds dope, you know. Because I would write, you know, and I would listen to this shit like holy fuck, you know, and it's almost like I discovered it. I think that's what it was. Is that no one told me like, hey, check this shit out. No, I just found it. I forgot how I ran across it. Um, but one of the things too was they were playing the Fade to Black documentary on TV. I remember that, and like I love the whole like the behind the scenes, how the songs would happen and stuff like that. It would just like it blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck? They have this on video. Like, I can't believe I'm watching this shit. Like, what? And you just like see the magic happen. I was like, I just ate that shit up, man. I don't remember what scene exactly, but I just remember, I don't think it was a scene, but I just remember like seeing everything happen. You know, the whole like, this is the first, like him being at Madison Square Garden. You know, hip hop really wasn't invited into places like that. Um, it was it was like a big deal for hip hop or whatever, and it was documented. And I had no fucking idea. Um, and I remember getting like choked up, like holy shit, man! Like this thing that has raised me, this thing that's taught me how to like, that's taught me how to like move throughout life. At that point, it's growing, and it's like holy shit, man! Like it's almost like I felt proud, to know it and to be a part of it and shit. And I remember thinking like, I really want to do this. Like I really want to do that. I really like this. I look forward to this shit. You know what I mean? And opposed to like all the jobs that I've had that I'm like, everybody dreads going to that job. This shit actually made life fun. It made life look like, what the fuck am I gonna come up with tomorrow? You know what I mean? Like, and then knowing that the whole work ethic shit, like if you keep on going, you will get better. And like, oh shit, like hip hop was growing. Hip hop was in a weird state at that point. It was like, like old rappers, young rappers, But then if you look back, there was like old rappers. It's like, where is this shit going? And I remember thinking like, man, you are the only one that holds you back. Like the possibilities are endless, man. Like, because at that point, I think Jay-Z had retired, came back, didn't do so well with the return album Kingdom Come, and then fucking American Gangster just like it just fucking blew not just my mind but a lot of people's minds. Like, wait a minute, this guy is this old and he's this good still. And fast forward all these years, it doesn't fucking matter. There's something for everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody. I mean, look at you. Like right now, what's today? August the 29th, 2022. Okay? For you guys listening in the future, um, the DJ Khaled album just dropped last week. No, not even last week, a few days ago. What is it called? God Did, right? There's a big fuss over this Jay-Z verse, long ass verse, right? Um, but it just goes to show, man. It just goes to show age does not matter, man, because you can only get better. You can only get better, man. You know? And I don't want to say like, oh, I knew it all along and shit like that. But it's like once you get out of this, once you stop holding yourself back, you don't really know what you're capable of. You know what I mean? Which brings me back to this Energy Fest shit. This is for us. I'm not going to make this about me. This is for us. All the artists that are involved. We can do this shit whenever the fuck we want to. We can just build it. The people will come because we know what we want to do. Our intentions are good, and we can do this. I don't mean to talk shit. I don't mean to like send shots at anybody when I say we want to do this the right way. It's just offering another option. And once people see the vision, that nothing but success will come. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be a part of something, but that shit has to be built already. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be, putting a brick down and another brick down and another brick down and another brick down. Like, okay, I get it. Okay. But just watch this shit. Watch this shit take off. And this shit's bigger than me. It's bigger than Accurate. It's bigger than my big brother. But we do have to build it. And I'm excited for it because this is what the city needs, and this is what needs to happen. You know what I mean? In every city. You know what I mean? Like, build your own. That's the biggest shit. Like, build your own. That's the biggest piece of advice I could give you. And I know I'm probably nobody to give advice on shit like this because I'm not successful yet, but I've figured it out. I have the mentality. I know what I want to do. I know I want to execute it a certain way. And then it's just like I told you the story about writing. We're going to do it, execute it, and then do it again, and then do it again. And every single time, tweak it, and it can only get better from there. So in my mind, I already know what I want, and I understand that what we want, that's the blueprint for being successful. Being persistent and fucking execute. You know what I mean? Plan it good as you can. Something bad, we're human. Something's going to fuck up. Something's going to happen, but you can only plan it so far, but fucking execute it. It's not going to be perfect, but just fucking do it. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whatever. If you want to go to school, if you want to be a wrestler, if you want to be a fucking astronaut, a scientist, a mathematician, a teacher, whatever it is, an artist, just do it. Just start it. You know what I mean? Then, and don't put too much pressure on yourself either. Don't put your work up on a pedestal. Understand that you're going to give it the best that you can at that point. But if you keep on doing it, if you keep on practicing, then it will only get better. It can only get better. Because as long as you care, you're going to be like, oh, you're going to look back on it and you're going to be like, oh, let me tweak that. Let me do this. Okay, next. Okay, I know what I want to do. And that gives you a sense of purpose. That gives you a sense of feeling alive. You know what I mean? Um, and I think that's what we were put in here on this world to do, is just like inspire someone else. That's the biggest goal for me, at least. Like, if I can inspire someone to do something, to pick, a pen up, pick a tool up, pick a something up, get the wheels going, then I've done my job, because there's so much fucking potential out there. And it's almost like the world is being built to drive against that. You know what I mean? But you can do it. You can do whatever you set your mind to. You only have one life. That's it. You don't get another one. This isn't a video game. So choose something, find something, and dedicate yourself to it. And work and work and work and work and work and link up. You're not the only one with this idea. Link up, help each other out, and then knock that shit out of the park. You know what I mean? And as long as your intentions are good, you cannot fail. Just keep on fucking going, man. And with that said, man, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. You know how this shit goes. Thank you to everybody for listening, really. And if you're in the future, share this shit. Fuck, I don't even know how this shit goes, man. I just like to do this shit. So I guess I don't really push it the way I should. But I mean, there's so many fucking ways, man. If you like this shit, share it, comment, let me know what part you liked. Shoot me some questions in the comments. If you want to get to know me, if you have a question or something like that, like any way I could help out, let me know. And yeah, man, I'll be dropping this shit whenever the fuck I want to, all right? Later.